High above the plains of northeastern Nigeria is a fertile plateau where the Sukur, once famous smelters of iron, now make a living by farming. Every 2 years, a new set of their male youth is initiated into manhood. Young women are initiated one by one in the course of marriage. Initiation takes place in August at the height of the rains. Others are working hard at weeding the staple millets, but the initiates are set apart, conspicuously not working. The ceremony has 2 parts. The first and most dramatic, which we will see here, is called Bur. Through Bur, young men acquire the right to marry. Bodies anointed with ochreous oil, formerly naked but now in shorts, they wander in the bush, visit markets and play their flutes. Everyday tasks keep others busy, but the young men while away the time, sometimes competing in tests of strength, sometimes fighting. In the evening, they return to the houses of their parents or of close kin, sponsors from their clans to whom they may not speak, but who are proud to feed them up. As the ceremony approaches, mothers and kinswomen prepare their outfits. Bur lasts 3, 5, or 7 days, ending on the night of the new moon. Work ceases, people visit, and especially in the houses of the initiates, drink millet beer. One of an initiate's 2 mentors, men who have recently done Bur themselves, decorates an initiate's sickle, identifying it with its owner. At about 9 in the morning, the initiates, their mentors and boy assistants run to the courtyard of the council chamber. There is historic political rivalry between the upper and lower wards of Sukur. Tensions mount as more and more initiates arrive. Meanwhile, the chief, who has named a leader among the initiates, receives councillors and guests. Fights break out. It is expected, for the young men must prove themselves, but it must not be allowed to get out of hand. Knives are forbidden. Initiates have been killed in the past. The chief is coming. Initiates from the upper wards and of the chiefly clan are lined up in his house, while others remain in the council courtyard. Their ages vary from early teens to early 20s, as fathers initiate first and last sons early, thus becoming respected elders. The chief charges the young men to show unity. And a priest, chaplain to the chief, makes an offering, calling on God and the spirits. Consecrated beer conveys the blessing. The initiates leave for the rocky hill, where for much of the following days they will remain apart under their own government, modelled on that of the larger community. On a grassy platform below the summit, each hugs his special friend. A priest with an assistant of the smith caste collects their sickles. Near the summit, a councillor, head of a clan of former chiefs, assigns the clans to their proper places, exhorting them to work in harmony. Back down on the platform, they beat down the grass in a gesture of common endeavour. The all-male crowd admires, then leaves them on the hill to their own devices. Rain falls, a sign of blessing. In the houses of initiates there is celebration, by kin on their father's side, and especially by their mothers, and by women to whom they are related through women. Kwada, a mother, praises her son Tara in a song that combines old and new. Grandmothers wear a leafy garland with other symbols of fecundity and luxurious growth. The initiates remain on their hill, a Sukur society in miniature. To the beat of a hired drummer, the father of an initiate dances onto the plaza with an entourage of male kin on his father's side. Soon the first of the nightly dances is well underway. The blood link between initiates and their mothers is emphasized by ochre. Her head is shaved in a pattern that mimics grains of millet. The contrast in men's and women's costumes expresses the greater incorporation of elements from outside into male Sukur society. Suddenly a group of initiates barges through on their way to the council courtyard. A fight is quelled almost as it breaks out, and the dancers disperse. The next days are a time for greeting the chief and visiting family and kin. The young men remain on their hill or, if they wander, leave an initiate of the smith caste to guard it. In the evenings, only a few gather to dance. On the last day, the initiates again gather in the council courtyard. They are led to their hill by the responsible priest. Elders make the goatskin loincloths the initiates will wear to re-enter society. Later the mentors gather with the costumes. Khazar, go find a wife. The initiates, washed and no longer red, are seated on a path, their chief and a smith in the front. The symbolism is of kinship, hierarchy and social descent. Their reintegration into society begins with symbolic shaving of their heads by a smith. Next they dress. The beaded bandoliers are borrowed from sisters, who will also wear a bell on the night they are escorted to their husband's house. They are led off by the priest to be presented to important spirits and to dance at their shrines. From this final rite, they return as men of Sukur. The last dance is a great occasion, attracting Sukur from all over Nigeria. The initiates, now dressed as ordinary men, gather on the wall of the chief's residence and are greeted by their parents, sponsors and kin. The new men and others thank and celebrate their parents, especially the mothers, with gifts of money. After some hours, the chief appears on the plaza. He dances with the councillor who acts as his steward. Then he calls on all to end the ceremony in peace, that Sukur may thrive, and for the initiates to marry, to produce many children, that he may celebrate for them as he does for the new men today. Tia, Tia, the bird dance ends with the new moon. On the next day, the chief, attended by his smith drummers, formally receives the new men. The chaplain prays for them and for the community. A ritual draught of beer brings Bur to a close for another 2 years. The new men return to normal life and the third weeding of the millets. In the coming dry season, when the millet is harvested and threshed, they will celebrate Zavadafa, the second part of initiation. and many will marry, regenerating Sukur and Sukur society.
Normal ki